In most games, we're the hero, and we're used to being the hero. The one with a noble purpose, the one from the prophecy meant to save the world, or the last of our kind fighting to kill a dragon from another dimension for some reason. Yes, that was Minecraft. But not all games make us the hero. Some are designed to let our true nature shine through, and those are what we're exploring today. Let's do it. And let me know down below what your favorite evil game is. In at 10, Dead by Daylight. Now, I haven't played much of Dead by Daylight myself, but I went on a date with a girl once who told me that she'd do lines of devil sugar off her computer while playing, so that's something. I mean, she also told me how she cheated on her ex and then tried to show me videos of Instagram models being used as human toilets, but despite them being an episodic villain in my love life, at least they weren't the main antagonist, which is exactly what you can be in Dead by Daylight. That's actually the whole point of the game. That this time, the villain isn't just some AI that you can learn the patterns for, but instead is an actual player who will intentionally adapt to the strategies of the survivors. And you have a wide selection of antagonists as well. The Trapper, the Wraith, Hillbilly, a nurse from what seems to be Silent Hill, Michael Myers, the Hag, Dr. Huntress, Leatherface, Freddy Krueger, a pig, the clown, which is basically John Wayne Gacy, a spirit, Legion, who seems to be inspired by the Sunny family cult in the Crypt TV universe, or at least I'm drawing similarities, Plague, Ghostface, the Stranger Things Demogorgon, and Oni, the Death Slinger, Pyramid Head, Blight, Twins, Trickster, no not that one, Nemesis from Resident Evil, Pinhead, Artist, and Albert Wesker from Resident Evil. No, you can't play as my love life's main antagonist, but honestly that's probably a good thing because I've been through so much that I might become one of these guys. And if you're liking this video, give it a like. I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand. It really helps us out and it will make me love you forever, alright? It helps us boost the algorithm and trust me, we can use it. In at 9, Undertale. Undertale came out in 2015 and still has quite the occult following. The 2D RPG revolves around the player character who's the only human to fall into a world of monsters. Your goal is to find a way out or else you'll stay trapped forever. Part of the appeal of this game is that unlike most RPGs, you don't actually have to kill anyone. You can do what is called the pacifist run, where you don't kill anyone and you use the negotiation system to talk your way out of danger. But then, there's the flip side. Because just because you don't need to kill doesn't mean you can't. You can kill if you want to, or if you need to, but you can also kill everyone when given the chance. The genocide run consists of someone who goes in with the intention to kill literally everyone they can, and it ends up giving you a different outcome than the normal or pacifist runs. And honestly, considering the huge fan base and the occult-like dedication to this game, I think that the Undertale genocide run was absolutely deserving to be on this list, because like, the irony of being a monster cause you're killing all the monsters kind of had to be here. You know that I love irony and puns. They're my kryptonite. Plus, Sans' Ness. And it ain't Plague Inc. Plague Inc., where the whole point is to create the most deadly disease known to man and see how quickly it can destroy a person's body. Yeah, Plague Inc. even describes itself as a unique mix of high strategy and terrifyingly realistic simulation with over 700 million games played. That's 700 million times that one of these pathogens could have been real. Not only is Plague Inc. about genetically mutating a pathogen so that it can absolutely eviscerate a human body, the actual goal of the game itself is to wipe out the planet and just wipe out all humans. Continuing on in its own description, quote, "Your pathogen has just infected patient 0. Now you must bring about the end of human history by evolving a deadly global plague whilst adapting against everything humanity can do to defend itself. It's you versus the world." Like, come on! The point of this game is to annihilate the human race. How are you not the monster in this? Okay? Although I have to admit, the mark of any villain is that they think they're the hero, right? But also the best villains know that they're not the good guy. And then just don't care, so. And at 7, Maneater. Experience the ultimate power fantasy as the apex predator of the seas. A frickin' shark. Maneater is a single-player open-world action RPG, or I guess as they called it, a shark PG, where you are a shark. Starting as a small shark pup, you are tasked with surviving the harsh world while eating your way up the food chain. Well, I guess kind of food chain. To do this though, you'll explore a large and varied open world encountering diverse enemies, both human and not, the other fish and whatnot. Find the right resources and you can grow and evolve far beyond what nature originally intended, allowing for the player to tailor the shark to their own playstyle. This is fortunate because to get revenge on the cruel fisherman that dismembered you, you'll have to evolve into quite a massive shark and become the apex predator of legends. And while Shark Week is definitely a great time to play this game, that doesn't mean that you aren't the monster when playing. Or maybe I guess the villain is a better term in this case, because let's be honest, sharks are animals, not monsters. But with this one, his sole purpose being to kill, that may make him the stereotypical Jaws shark monster that everyone fears, okay? Which honestly, in my opinion, is kind of goals. I'd love that. And at 6, Saints Row. The Saints Row series is basically if a teenager designed GTA, and that's as accurate of a description as you're ever going to get. The series follows the 3rd Street Saints, a fictional street gang originally operating out of the Saints Row district, hence the title. But the developers sought to create a more distinctive experience from the 3rd game onwards, with a heavy focus on over-the-top gameplay, as well as pop culture homages, parodies, and self-referential humor. Like just kind of breaking the fourth wall. These changes had been controversial among fans for the original games, but while controversial, they still made sure that Saints Row was very distinct from its Rockstar counterpart, especially with the added vulgarity from Saints Row. An emphasis is put on urban warfare. The player character is affiliated with a street gang, after all, known as the 3rd Street Saints, as I mentioned, and the game's missions are structurally divided into separate mission arcs that fall together, but you don't have to play them in a specific order. As well, they added a giant purple fake silicone genital bat that flops around when you're running with it. So needless to say, it's definitely the sillier of the options, hence why I chose it instead. It has nothing to do with YouTube hating on GTA videos right now. No, not at all. Why would I say that? Why would I even mention it? Why am I still talking about it? That's a good question. Halfway through it at number 5, Shadow of Colossus. I'm a romantic, alright? So I know that love can make people do all sorts of crazy things, especially when it's fueled by lust. Never underestimate the horny. But even the most love-struck of fools would probably agree that destroying 16 towering colossi to free the spirit of an evil god so that they may once again wreak havoc on the world is a little bit too far. Though it could certainly be argued that Wander's motivation for helping Dorman is driven by an intense love for Mana rather than any kind of personal evil views or even the desire to actually let loose an evil spirit. This man intentionally ignores the consequences of these actions, and that goes far beyond just being selfish and wanting to bang. Okay, so even if unintentional, this man is just as much the villain as the deity he is freeing. Okay, I'm sorry if that makes you upset. Maybe some of you, but it's the truth and you know it. Okay, deep down inside, you know that I'm right. In at 4, Infamous. Developed by Sucker Punch Productions, the first 2 Infamous games followed the adventures of Cole McGrath, a superpowered conduit who must decide his own destiny of becoming either good or evil. Because, that's the whole point of this list. The series takes place in the present-day United States with real and alternate versions of real cities, such as the setting of Infamous, Empire City, which is meant to resemble New York City, and the setting of Infamous 2, New Marais, which is supposed to resemble New Orleans. Washington, D.C. is occasionally mentioned, and Infamous Second Son takes place in Seattle. It also features American government agencies that are actually real, such as the FBI, the NSA, and DARPA, but it also has fabricated ones, including the DUP, which is the Department of Unified Protection, an agency with the sole purpose of stopping conduits. So, even if you want to be good, you're already being treated like a villain. It's kind of similar to Code 8, which is a movie from Stephen and Robbie Amell, and also one of my personal favorite movies. But it's the same kind of concept. People with superpowers are seen as evil, no matter what. Morality, or karma, is a major factor within the gameplay and the storyline by having Cole use his powers for good or evil, and the choices you make grant you different abilities and determine whether you end the game a hero or, well, infamous and a monster. Had to say it. Getting close to the end, in number 3, Untitled Goose game. According to the game's own Steam page, it's a lovely morning in the village and you're a horrible goose. Untitled Goose game is a slapstick stealth sandbox where you are a goose let loose on an unsuspecting village. Make your way around town from people's back gardens to the high street shops to the village green, setting up pranks, stealing hats, honking a lot, and just generally ruining everyone's day. The game also actively emphasizes how horrible you are meant to be, with lines like featuring a horrible goose, that's you, and oh dear, 2 horrible geese, being their way of introducing multiplayer. I think that this is pretty self-explanatory. You knew that this was kind of going to be on the list. I mean, the whole point of this game is to be a menace and make people suffer, but I don't know, maybe I'm a little biased being Canadian, given that our geese are absolute assholes. Like, I don't know, okay? They're not afraid. Over here, they're deadly assassins and are trained by martial art experts and can counter any fighting style. So when I see this game, I see an absolute monster who wants to watch the world burn. And you know what? That's exactly what they want you to see, because geese are monsters. But ultimately, in at number 2, last year. Have you ever wanted to be in an 80s slasher or horror flick? Wait, really? Why the hell would you want that? You'd probably die, you psycho. Maybe geese aren't the only maniacs around here after all. Well, since somehow you want to, the game last year is perfect for you. You and 5 friends struggle to survive against one player that's playing as the killer. Kinda like Dead by Daylight. When playing as the killer though, you'll utilize game-changing predator mechanics to help you hunt down and eliminate your victims before they have a chance to escape. Explore familiar territory inspired by classic horror movie locations as well, including a high school, a mall, the suburbs, and a summer camp. But either way, honestly, like Dead by Daylight, half the fun of this game comes from the ability to play as the killer. And it's honestly the only reason I bought the game in the first place, because I wanted to see how good of a killer I could be, and it was like an introduction to Dead by Daylight, at least in my mind. And well, I'm terrible at the game. And some of the people playing take it way too seriously. I was kicked out of one of my first games because I didn't know what I was doing. But of course I didn't. I was new. So, not only are you able to be a monster while playing as the killer, but apparently you can also be a toxic monster as a survivor too. Yeah, look at that. And finally, in at number 1, Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2 is a classic, being released in September of 2001 to critical acclaim. Within a month, 1 million copies were sold, and it's often seen as one of the best games of all time. Part of this is due to its endings, in which, spoiler alert, most of the time it's revealed that we're actually the villain, especially in the in-water ending, which separates itself from Silent Hill 2's other endings by the fact that it's the one ending that suggests James drowns himself in order to rejoin his wife and complete his journey for punishment or an attempt at redemption. And not only that, but it's aided by the fact that throughout the game, we think that we're the hero. We think we're doing the right thing, chasing after the bad guy. But in reality, we're just running from our own guilt, which makes the player feel just as crazy in the end as James. It's beautifully executed, properly handled, and shocking for the player if they didn't know beforehand, which is why I thought it deserved the top spot, for really making us feel like the villain, since after all, they typically don't see anything wrong with their actions and think they're the hero. That's all the time we have for today though, friends. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been Charmaine Conn Moreau, and I'll see you in another video.